Welcome to Breaking Stereotypes. I'm your host, Kristy Ramnarine. Perimenopause and menopause are topics which we rarely discuss, but on Breaking Stereotypes, we're trying to break that cycle and continue to talk about the issues surrounding both topics. Joining me on set is Gillian Smith-Trumpet, and she's the president of MENO-TT. Gillian, MENO-TT, how long? First of all, MENO-TT, you tell me the long name for it.
Okay. Hi, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Menopause Empowerment Network of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
Right? It's an NGO that started. This NGO is very young, so it's about a year and a half old, going into 2 years. And it is something that was born out of suffering. And it was born out of my suffering, which I did not know what was going on with me in terms of all the ailments that I was experiencing at that time. And what has happened is that I was sick all the time, every single day, as far as I know myself. And I couldn't understand it because, you know, going to the doctors, doing all these tests, and coming back, everything is okay, and then going to the Port of Spain General Hospital because I utilize the free medical facilities that we have, you know, especially for the expensive tests. And coming back, everything is okay, nothing is wrong with you. Never knew about perimenopause, never knew about menopause. I may have heard the word once or twice, but my mind never went in that direction because I thought, one, I was dying. 2, I was getting a heart attack. I suffered from depression, anxiety, and it was just, I was just going out of control. I was just spiraling, and nobody knew what was wrong with me. Mm-hmm. So that was the early stages. Then I had to do a hysterectomy because my womb kept dropping. So they inserted a pessary, if I'm pronouncing it correct.
I can't help you.
To hold up because
Okay.
it was coming through my vagina, and they had to push everything up, and it didn't make sense. And, you know, you have to do this hysterectomy because we're seeing fibroids and we're seeing cysts. So I did the hysterectomy in my 40s. Mm-hmm. And when I thought things were bad back before, things got progressively worse because I had a hysterectomy, and it's only when they went inside they saw how my organs were fused together. It was fused to my appendix. I had a lot of scar tissue. I was even missing an ovary, which was taken out without my knowledge some years ago, like about 20 years prior to that. So it was a lot, and, you know, I went into full-blown menopause. That is what I was told. Now, normally when you come out of the hospital, they give you a list of things, what to do, what not to do, what to expect. I only got like what you should take. I think it was estrogen, if I'm not mistaken. That was it.
I want to go back to talk about your womb dropping. You know, as a child growing up, I grew up in Tabaquite.
Right.
So I grew up knowing what Nara is.
Right.
What was the other one? Butchette?
Butchette, yes.
And, you know, then when I grew older, I realized this is what one of them is supposed to be when your womb drops.
Yes.
And, you know, as a child, again, growing up, you were told, do not lift heavy things.
Correct.
Because you'll get Nara.
Yeah, don't pull this.
Yeah.
Women not supposed to lift that kind of thing. But
you know, you said something earlier that threw me. You said it was coming through your vagina.
yeah, so that's why we had to put a pessary in.
Could you explain that to me?
So the pressure of everything was coming downwards. So, and to the mouth, so it didn't really reach all the way out. So that's why he ended up putting a pessary in, because of how everything was coming down.
Right.
But I used to go to, you know, a doctor in Arima, and he would rub the womb,
I was
push.
now going to ask if you tried those.
I tried everything.
Yeah.
He massaged it, he pushed it up, and then ever so often it'll come back down, and it was just progressing worse.
Yeah.
So they told me the best thing to do
Was to remove it.
to remove it totally, because of the cysts and the fibroids. I mean, the fibroids were small,
Yeah.
but I never had fibroids before. And the cyst that I had that like when I was in my early 20s. So I'm 52 now. And that is when I took out, well, they removed the cyst, but I wasn't aware.
What type of cyst was this? PCOS or something else?
So this is what the doctor explained to me. This cyst apparently was my twin that I carried. So my mother was supposed to be having twins.
Right.
And I ended up carrying the twin inside of me.
Oh, wow.
And it is an anomaly because one in every how much ever millions happen, and I never heard of it.
I've read that before. It so happened an article about someone who actually had that same experience. It was trending on social media at the time.
So that is what I was told in my early 20s. And, you know, coming to think about it, I mean, I remember vaguely that my mother and the doctor was really talking, and I wasn't hearing much of what they were saying and stuff like that. And I was not even aware that they removed my left ovary. It's only when the doctor went in to do the hysterectomy, he said, but you know, you don't have a left ovary. I said, well, I didn't know that. Nobody told me anything.
Yeah.
And he said there was a lot of scar tissue there, etc. I said, yeah, sure. Make sure when you're doing this hysterectomy, you're sure you take out everything, you didn't leave. He said, no. He said there was no left ovary. It's just the right. And I had 3 children after that. But I honestly believe, you know, in the olden days with your parents, I think my mother said, don't tell her anything.
Yeah. But, so my dad, I mean, I'm changing topic here.
That's fine.
My dad, I can't remember how old he was, but it was before he got married to my mom. And they celebrated their 45th wedding anniversary this year. He had those old iron bicycles, the heavy, heavy ones.
Right.
And he fell off the bike and was rushed to hospital and had surgery. So he ended up having a scar straight down his chest, past his navel, going down. He never knew what happened. He doesn't know what was removed, what type of surgery he had. He doesn't know. And I guess back then, I'm assuming, you know, the information that we get right now from medical institutions, back then, you didn't get that type of information.
And it was very limited, and I had no idea. I just knew. I went in and I got a cyst removed, and this is what the cyst contained of. And that was it. So fast forward now to the womb dropping and to all of this happening in terms of when the doctor went inside, what he saw, what was missing, and that kind of thing. And then here comes menopause, not knowing I was in perimenopause before.
Yeah.
In my 40s, going into my 50s, because I was 48 when I had my the total hysterectomy.
Right.
And I swear I was dying. No, serious.
Your world changed after.
My world changed. Everything changed. My marriage fell apart. Just, it was spiraling out of control. The suicidal thoughts, you know, and I mean, it's a lot for a woman to go through.
Yeah.
And when I tell you the amount of things, especially the heart palpitations, the hot flashes, the night sweats, and then my husband at the time, he mentioned it. He said, listen, I know you have to go and do this. Just remember, some women leave their jobs because of it. He mentioned that. And he also indicated that, you know, your mood will change. So whatever you do, just don't take it out on your children. That's the only thing I got. I didn't even think about doing, like looking up what menopause was about or anything like that. I just went into this depression because you can't have children anymore.
Yeah.
And somehow or the other, you know, you're seeing baby. All of a sudden, I just started to see babies. And, you know, I wanted to hold them, cuddle them, that kind of thing. And then, menopause. I sometimes wonder what it is we did that was so terrible that we have to endure punishment for life.
Yeah, you know, I'm smiling here because I'm getting flashbacks. I don't know if my mother would want me to say this, but my mom too had a hysterectomy and she started getting depressed. And there were times she didn't want to stay home. She didn't want to be in the house, and she kept asking my dad, you know, to take her for a drive. And yeah, it was really bad until she had to go and get medication to help with the depression. Yeah. And when the twins were born and being occupied, she helps me a lot with the twins. Being occupied with them, I think, I haven't heard her complain that she felt depressed any time in the last 5 years since the twins were born.
Right.
But prior to that, you know, the same things you're saying, I remember my mother complaining, but I never heard her once say menopause.
Correct. And with my mother too, this is the word they use, she was always sour. She had blood pressure issues. She never smiled. And I'm now looking back at, because at the end of the day, we hear all of these statistics about white women, Italian women, black women, but nothing is being done on the Caribbean woman, the colored woman, right? Because we are so, our ethnic background is so diverse, and we are mixed, and no one has done research on us. And I realized all of this, and I'm saying to myself, wait, I cannot be the only one in Trinidad and Tobago going crazy. Somebody else had to be going crazy too. It can't be me alone, right? Because you know what it is to be going to the doctor every minute and the doctor telling you nothing is wrong with you.
Again, I remember my mother having these same experiences. Always, something is always wrong. And when you go to the doctor, nothing is wrong.
And the doctor is watching you like, are you making things up in your head? Are you mad? You know, is something wrong with you? Is it that you're calling sickness upon yourself? All these things you're running through your mind. And hence the reason why I decided to start doing research and look at the symptoms. And you see, the misconception is if you don't have the hot flushes, you're not in menopause or you're not in perimenopause. To me, that's the least. Because it's not about only the hot flushes.
Yeah.
I got itching, my whole back, my whole body, all in my head. I have floaters in my eyes. You know, these little things that just, all of a sudden you get up and they have little things all in your eyes. You can't see properly, blurred vision, you know. I got severe acid reflux. So I'm in the office and I'm coughing and choking my guts out with the coughing and going to see an ENT specialist to find out what is wrong. Nothing. They give you medication, not knowing that that was a symptom of menopause. I got an extra layer of skin underneath my feet that you could peel off like glue, not knowing that was it. You know, so it's vaginal dryness, not wanting to be touched by any man or anybody, you know, that feeling of loneliness, that darkness, all of these things. And, you know, you try to explain it to your family and your family don't understand. Nobody understands. So a group of us from Holy Name Convent that we kept together.
Sorry,
Sure.
Before you go to the group, you spoke about your marriage broke up because of this.
Explain.
Yeah.
Right. So
I know.
It is not wanting to be touched by him at all. The intimacy level, that just went out the door because the divorce rates happening right now. It's going up because of menopause. We just didn't have a name for it at the time. All right? I mean, I take accountability, yes, for a part of the marriage, the communication breaking down. He just didn't understand, and I didn't understand. And, you know, it was like, you're accusing me of having somebody else. And the patience wasn't there. The depression, sometimes, you know, he wants to make love, and then he says, you say to yourself, well, you don't feel like it. You don't want to do that. I remember a time he made a remark, how long is this kind of depression going to last on you? Is it forever? Are you taking whatever? He didn't understand. And I couldn't blame him because he too himself wouldn't understand because I too did not understand. And what we are trying to do now is to try to educate the men as well to have patience
Yeah.
with their wives, their girlfriends who are going through this. And, you know, sometimes the question we ask, which personality am I getting to wake up to today? You know, or the anger. Little things will set you off unnecessarily. And all of these things will cause the breakdown in your marriage.
How long have you been separated, well, divorced?
Separated.
Separated.
Yeah, we're not divorced yet, so it's, say, about 10 to 12 years.
What is the relationship like now?
I stayed in a relationship for the children. That was my decision, my choice, right? Because I loved my children. There's nothing I would not do for them. And that is what I did. And with them, you know, we coexist in the same house. We speak to each other. We still co-parent. We still help out with the children. They are now big adults.
Yeah.
So they understand what it is like. And I'm sure there are many households like that out there where, you know, you just coexisting. So he has his life, I have my life. But at the end of the day, when it comes to our grown kids, we are still there for them to guide them. All right? Although they are adults, we still need guidance and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And does he understand more now about menopause, now that you have the information in front of you?
Well, he has an idea of what it is, what it entails, and what it's like. Because he's living with a woman who have 100 and how much personality is. So he doesn't argue.
Yeah.
You know, I am the one that may raise my voice and stuff like that. But other than that, a Monday, fall on a Friday, nobody.
I feel like a therapist right now. But honestly, I'm asking these questions
because this is reality.
Yeah, you hear a lot of people
Yes.
speaking about this.
Yes.
And they're speaking about it, but silently, not publicly.
Correct.
And, you know, with the lack of information out there, then you wouldn't be able to help someone else, you know, stem whatever may happen as a result of menopause if they don't know.
Right. And you see, the more you talk about it now, I prefer to be real in terms of telling you as is and speaking as is, because I do not want to stand in front of a camera or do a seminar and not tell you what I have experienced in terms of whether the medication that I took, you know, or the HRT that I took and that kind of thing. I will speak to what it is I know, what worked for me, what didn't work for me.
Okay. So, would you believe almost 20 minutes has gone already? Wow. You were talking about the group of you from Holy Name Convent getting together. So, I'll let you continue with that point.
So, we came together and we had a little discussion because we are all on a group chat. And I was saying, you all not experiencing these things? Some of them saying, no, oh God, Gillian, this is what I had to go through or look forward to and that kind of thing. And then I said, now, we need to do something about this. And we decided, here what? We're going to form an NGO. That came later on because the Facebook group started in 2023. I started it. And the minute it was up, the word got out. And you started to hear the story. So we created that safe space for women to post anonymously and to also, some of them post with their name, and it's a private group for women, and we had to keep it like that for now so that we could get women to open up, because we didn't want to open it up too much for the males, for them, because they don't understand just yet. Because if we don't understand ourselves, how are we to explain it to them? How are we to make them understand? So we have that group, and they just started to talk. Some of them started to open up. And they said they didn't even know this was a symptom. What is this symptom about? Why is this? And I mean, I would get calls at night, women crying. And, you know, they would be asking me, how are you dealing with this? But I could only talk through my experience and let them know, listen, we are in this team together. We are going to get through it together. It's a learning process for all of us, because the doctors too don't even understand. And that's unfortunate because when I went to the doctors in the Port of Spain General Hospital, and I even spoke to them about menopause, they said, we can't write any prescriptions for you for that because we are GPs. We don't know about that.
Yeah.
We can't tell you what to take about that. What we can do is treat the symptom, which is if you're depressed, I could write you, go and see a psychiatrist. Let them prescribe, or a psychologist, and let them prescribe some antidepressants for you, because I was on antidepressants. In order to function, I was deemed chronically fatigued.
I was now going to ask about work because it affected your job.
Yes, it affected my job because I had to take time off
Yeah.
to go to the hospital, to go to the doctor. And I had a manager, my immediate manager. She understood because I would talk about menopause, and then, you know, she would see me in the office, air conditioned, the fan on, or she would see me on a pillar and I'm moving up and down because I'm scratching my back, or with a hanger in the office and I'm scratching my So the more I spoke about it, she understood. But I had a male general manager from the UK, and you know the UK is top of the line when it comes to that. And in a meeting, because he's new, in a meeting in front of a sales group, he told me the Friday afternoon, if I don't bring in a particular sale by Monday, he's going to poison me. Yeah. Now, you're telling a menopausal woman that, whether you meant it as a joke, a threat, you don't know the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, but you came from wherever you came from, and you made that statement. And that was my determining factor to leave that company. I went to HR, and HR said, well, you know, he probably trying to get his slang at Trinidad, and he ain't no and this and that, but that's no excuse.
Yeah.
And, you know, to tell me something like that, and I have all these mix of emotions and all these different personalities, as they are saying, how could you do that? And that is all that you cared about. You cared about the bottom line, which is the numbers. And my manager, she went and she said, here what, let Gillian work from home. Because we just came out of COVID and that kind of thing. 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. He said, for what? What is she going to do home? And she was explaining, so that at times, you know, sometimes you're working and you just want to lie down. You see, around 1 o'clock, I used to fall asleep in the office. And my supervisor understood, so she would let me take a little half an hour just to rest my head, because it was chronic fatigue. It's not something that you could keep your eyes open. Mm-hmm. You know, just this tiredness will come over you just like that. And all of these things she was trying to push so that I could, you know, still function, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And this is what we need managers to understand. So that's why, too, I go out to companies to talk to management, to let them know you have staff with you for 20 years or 10 years, 10, 20 years. It's not just one day they woke up and decided to be lazy. Things happen. Menopause happen, perimenopause happen. And these are the things you have to make provision for that. You know, many times I had to double check emails to make sure I'm sending it to the right department or the right person, not to make that mistake 3, 4 times, getting glasses, you know, you're watching the screen, you can't see it properly, suffering from dry mouth, trying to have a conversation with a client, and in the middle of the conversation, you forget what you're talking about. That is embarrassing.
I used to call it pregnancy brain, but now I have to call it perimenopause brain.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's because of those symptoms we decided to do the research. We're educating, we're doing the research, and we are advocating for women out there who don't have a voice to be their voice. And educating, because whatever little information we come across, we post it to let you know this is what is happening. So my journey started with, I said, listen, I'm not going down like this without a fight. Dr. Simone Van Horn, she was the first person that introduced me to HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, because she said I was suffering too much. I had 40 symptoms, you know. It didn't all come out at once, periodically. Every day was a new thing. And it was frustrating, and I was tired of being sick every day. So she introduced me to HRT, and then I found Dr. Stone. And Dr. Stone's clinic, which is LYF Clinic, is situated in Trinidad, and it is a hormonal therapy clinic. I mean, at some point in time, I think it was last month, there was some misinformation in the newspaper that we do not have a hormonal clinic in Trinidad, but we do. They have been in existence for the past 2 years. And he reached out to me based on my Facebook page, and he said, let me help you. Imagine that.
Yeah.
A doctor reached out to me. Dr. Van Horn did the same, and so did Dr. Stone. And I started HRT with the palette procedure, which was estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. And he is one that will sit down, talk with you, listen to you. We have had many persons, ladies, gone to him. They've cried because it's an emotional roller coaster you're on.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's to get the word out there that there is help in Trinidad and Tobago. You may go, and there are other doctors, Dr. Bisundat, Roshini Bisundat. She goes with me as well at times when I have to speak to companies, when Dr. Stone cannot accompany me. So I work with both of them because, you know, some places would ask for a female, and then other places would ask for, you know, a male, that kind of thing. So working together with the doctors and talking with these ladies to let them know, to shed that silence. And that is what we are about. Educating. We are doing the research by them talking to us, because we have to do our own research. Nobody's going to do the research for us. There was a petition going out there for people to sign up, because we need HRT in the country.
Yeah.
I need to know that I could go over the counter, Super Farm, or in any drugstore and get HRT available, whether it be in the form of patches, etc. The health centers, when I go to the health center by me and I talk about menopause, they said, yeah, we know the basics, but they're not going to tell me, well, this is Progrinova, you can take that, or Angelique, you can take that. They're silent because they don't know. Sometimes I have to educate them and tell them, these are my symptoms. And worse yet, if it's a male doctor, you get UTIs. And I remember going to a doctor, and he telling me, so I asked him, how come it is I'm getting it so often? He said, well, when you put things up in there, what do you expect? So I was like, what? I don't understand. And this is a Nigerian doctor. And this is what you like to tell me? And I am trying to explain to you, is it because I'm menopausal?
Yeah.
Or tell me, okay, maybe as you're menopausal, maybe don't wear this kind of underwear, don't do this, don't do that, change your soap, look at this, look at that. No, it's when you put and insert things up there. And, you know, I just watched him and I said, you know what, Gillian, doing murder. There are certain battles you just leave alone.
Yeah. How has it been since you've been doing HRT?
It's been a game changer. It has changed my life tremendously. All the symptoms, majority of the symptoms have subsided. Not all, but it helps and it prevents long-term, because I have osteoporosis. And if I had known what I knew when I was in my 30s or early 40s,
yeah,
I would not have gotten that now. But I work with Dr. Stone, I work with Dr. Bisundat, and they are helping in terms of my journey through this. And that's what we need. We need HRT to be affordable for the average person in Trinidad so that they can go, because we have people who go abroad to get it done.
Yeah.
But we have Dr. Stone, we have Dr. Bisundat, and you had on your program last week, Dr. Kalu. So we have local doctors here that can assist us with this journey.
Yeah, definitely. Gillian, you know, this interview could go on.
On and on.
We've passed 30 minutes. It's so interesting to hear what you have to say. Thank you for coming on Breaking Stereotypes and sharing with us. You know, and
thank you so
looking
much.
forward to see what the organization does
Yes.
in terms of pushing the perimenopause and menopause discussion and making it more popular in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And please join our MENO-TT page on
Yes.
Facebook. Please join. Lots of information there. And we are a community. We're in this together.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much
You're
for the
welcome.
opportunity.
That's it for Breaking Stereotypes. I'm your host, Kristy Ramnarine.